The end of World War II in 1945 marked not only the defeat of Nazi Germany but also the beginning of a complex and transformative period for Austria. After 6 years as part of the Third Reich, Austria was liberated by Allied forces but soon found itself occupied and divided among the victorious powers. This occupation shaped Austria's political, social, and economic future, influencing the country's path towards sovereignty, neutrality, and reconstruction in the post-war world. Liberation and occupation. In April 1945, the Soviet Red Army captured Vienna after intense fighting, marking the liberation of Austria's capital. Simultaneously, American, British, and French forces advanced into western and southern Austria. Unlike Germany, which was split into 4 occupation zones, Austria was similarly divided into 4 zones controlled by the Soviet Union, the United States, Britain, and France. The country's occupation was formalized by the Allied powers with the understanding that Austria was a victim of Nazi aggression and not a defeated enemy state, an important distinction that would influence post-war policy. The 4 zones of occupation. Austria was divided as follows. Soviet zone included Vienna, although Vienna itself was subdivided, and Eastern Austria. American zone covered parts of Upper Austria and Styria. British zone included Carinthia and Salzburg. French zone encompassed Western Austria including Vorarlberg and Tyrol. Vienna, like Berlin, was also divided into 4 sectors with the city center jointly administered. Challenges of occupation. The occupation period was marked by political tension, economic hardship, and social upheaval. Political rebuilding. Austria's government was re-established with the reformation of the Austrian State Treaty. Political parties, including the Austrian People's Party (VP) and Social Democrats, worked to rebuild democracy, but tensions with communist elements, particularly in the Soviet zone, complicated matters. Economic recovery. The war had devastated Austria's infrastructure and economy. Food shortages, housing crises, and unemployment were rampant. The Marshall Plan aid from the United States in 1948 played a vital role in economic reconstruction. Denazification and justice. Austria faced the difficult task of dealing with former Nazis and collaborators. While the country sought to distance itself from the Nazi past by promoting the narrative of victimhood, many former Nazis remained in influential positions. The Austrian State Treaty and independence. After nearly a decade of occupation, Austria's sovereignty was restored with the signing of the Austrian State Treaty in 1955. The treaty ended Allied occupation and re-established Austria as an independent and democratic republic. A key provision of the treaty was Austria's declaration of perpetual neutrality, which became a cornerstone of its foreign policy during the Cold War. This neutrality allowed Austria to maintain peaceful relations with both the Western Bloc and the Soviet Union. Legacy of occupation. The years of occupation left a lasting imprint on Austrian society and politics. Neutrality as identity. Austria's neutrality shaped its Cold War role as a mediator and cultural bridge between East and West. Historical reckoning. Austria's post-war identity as a victim of Nazism complicated efforts to confront collaboration and anti-Semitism. It was not until decades later that broader acknowledgement and reflection on Austria's role during the Nazi period gained prominence. Economic growth and stability. The occupation years laid the groundwork for Austria's eventual economic recovery and prosperity. Austria's post-war experience as an occupied and divided country was a critical period of transition from dictatorship and war to democracy and peace. The delicate balance of occupation powers, the reconstruction efforts, and the eventual restoration of sovereignty forged Austria's modern identity as a neutral and stable European nation.